All right. What's up, everybody? It's Raven Starr. I know it's been a while.
Okay.
My first show. This is the Star Review, and I have today Andras Jones. Y'all, I am so excited about this. You cannot even imagine. I'm so happy. So welcome, Andras. This is fun.
Oh, thank you.
Right on.
You're cutting in and out a little bit, that background.
I know. It's the same with you. It's kind of like back and forth, kind of like a little glitchy, I would say. But I think it's because a lot of people are now using Zoom, so Zoom is just so compact. But can you hear me?
Yeah. There's a little delay, but
Okay,
we'll make it work.
Awesome. So I wanted to welcome you to my show. And for the people who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, geez. How about you tell me what you think you know, and I'll correct the record.
Okay. Musician, yes or no?
There's a guitar.
There's a guitar.
You got it. This is like, it's like you can sort of look around. What do we see? There's a
What is that little spinning
wheel.
thing? What is that spinning wheel back there?
That's the Radio 8 wheel for the live Radio 8 Ball shows.
Oh, that's wicked. I cannot wait.
Radio 8 Ball, of course, being the show I host where we answer questions by picking songs at random and interpreting them like musical tarot cards. We do a live show at the at theaters, and we do a podcast that we come out with every week. And we have the Radio 8 Ball app. You can download for free.
How can I find that?
And ask it a question.
I would love to do that.
On the iTunes App Store. Look up.
Right on.
Just tell your people. It's all anyone who's listening. It's Radio 8 Ball, one word. And people put spaces in there, but as long as it's Radio 8 Ball, one word. Radio 8 Ball. You'll always find us. Find me, at least.
Now, how did you come up with Radio 8?
Yes. Well, with like a lot of things, there's the reason that you thought it was when you did it, and then there's the reason you realized after you did it.
Right.
So at first it was just kind of, I like playing around with Synchronicity. The band called They Might Be Giants put out a record called Apollo 18, where what they used a CD, was when people were putting out CDs, obviously, and they had a song at the end of the record that had 18 little songs, that was 18 little snippets that ran together as one song when you listen to them on a cassette or on a record. But if you played it on shuffle function, it would mix them all in. And I just thought that was brilliant. And I just thought, cool. What if we did something like that with the show? Just have a radio show where we just play CDs on shuffle function. And then it's like the pop oracle started speaking to us. Synchronicities started happening. We started asking it questions. The answers were amazing. People started calling in, and that was in 1998. So I've been doing this, since then I've been expanding the format and doing it as a live show and doing it as a podcast, and again, building the app. And it's just become a total obsession. And then since then, I've realized that there was a lot in there. My father was a dream psychologist. And
really? That's interesting.
I think his dream seminars sort of inspired Radio 8 Ball.
Wow,
Thank you.
That's interesting.
I feel like I'm talking over you. I'm really sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. That's amazing that your father can interpret dreams like that. That's amazing. So
well, he's no longer with us, and he taught at Harvard and Brandeis and UC Santa Cruz, and and then eventually at Evergreen State College, which is in Olympia, where I grew up. He wrote many books on dreams, and particularly dreams in education, and the idea of using dream seminars and the exploration of dreams as a way to deepen the field study in other fields.
Right,
to just
right.
make basically to lubricate the educational experience with our subconscious, which is kind of what I'm trying to do in entertainment with Radio 8 Ball, which is to bring some, I feel like synchronicity is like the experience of dreams in the waking life.
Yes.
So my dad worked the dream side of the street. I'm working the side of the sort of the waking life synchronicity side of the street, but it's basically the same idea. And I really wasn't aware of that until years into doing Radio 8 Ball, when actually one of his students, I didn't know, this woman called in and was like, hey, you know, this show you're doing, it kind of reminds me of these dream seminars that I've been in, and except that we do it this way. And she was giving me notes, and like when we were in the dream seminars, we'd say this, and I was like, wow, that sounds a lot like my dad's work. He's like, what's your dad's? She's like, what's your dad's name? I was like, Richard Jones. Like, that was my teacher. And then
That's
I had to realize, oh my God, I reinvented my father's dream seminars I guess as part of my mourning process. And maybe his ghost in some way, his spirit was somehow involved in that. I feel like it is.
Yes, yes, I absolutely believe in the way that spirits and ghosts of our ancestors, they do guide us into our own little piece of the world. So with Radio 8 Ball, I have to say, I was on your show years ago, and it was phenomenal. It was. I just got to call in, I picked a number, and
yes, you were.
It was amazing. I was just stunned how the pop oracle could really bring out something that I didn't even know was really there. You know, so it was the experience was mind-blowing to me. I mean, first because I get to talk to you, but then to have that experience was something totally different, and I am so happy to have you here talking about your show. So now, how long did it take you to develop the app for the show? Are we having technical difficulties? So how long did it take?
A long time. By someone, the app creation world is very tough, but 10 years in, and with the help of about 10 years. I started the project. I mean, I didn't have a budget until about really much of a budget to work with until I was about 6 years into the project. So there was a lot of the project was looking for teams that I could work with, pitching the idea. That was a whole process in and of itself. And then when I did find someone who could back the project very generously, even then, it is a time-consuming process. And even an idea, our app, I think, is pretty simple. You know, you ask it a question, you shake it, and it plays you a randomly chosen song from one of the close to 2,000 that have been recorded in the history of the show on Radio 8 Ball. So everything in there is either my song or a song that's been performed on the show. So it supports local, like independent musicians. For the most part, they're all independent musicians. I mean, even signed musicians are basically independent musicians unless they're huge.
Right.
You're
right.
right. You're right. You know, you're independent. Yeah, until the gig is over. I mean, you're in the band until the gig is over, and then you're independent again.
Right.
So yeah, so it seems very simple, but it just took a long time. And I've built many different versions of it. We had it as a website, and earlier we had just versions of a website where it would have not all of the songs, but a selection of the songs. People could type in a question and it could be randomized. But making it into an app was not easy. Yeah. And now it's free. It's out there for anyone who has an iPhone. I'm sorry, it's not available for Android users. I'm an Android user, but
I'm an Android user.
Use the iPhones.
That's why I couldn't find the Play Store.
Me too. I'm sorry. I built one. Yeah.
Do you ever think that
eventually
do it for Android?
It's a big expense.
Oh, I bet. Now, what can you tell me about the process?
I want to, yeah. I absolutely want to. It's just, you know, it's, yeah.
about the process of building your site and really getting Radio 8 Ball out there. What would you say to other entrepreneurs or business people looking to do the, to make their dreams come true? What advice would you give them?
Well, let's see. If you're an entrepreneur, I would not follow my advice. But I would say that, I came up, I think Radio 8 Ball is a brilliant idea. And I think it's unique. There's nothing like it. And artistically, that's what you want to do. Come up with a brilliant idea that's new, there's nothing like it, and it serves all these needs. But having a new idea means that you have to spend a lot of time teaching people this new idea.
Right.
Even if it's wrapped in an old idea like Radio 8 Ball, which is but even that, the idea of synchronicity and pop oracle and music and all this stuff, it means that I've spent the last 20 years of my life explaining every day this idea to people, as opposed to if I wanted to have a successful app, I would pick something that you don't have to explain to people, like shopping. Oh, I have an app that makes shopping easier. You will definitely sell that.
Oh,
I have an app that can translate text. I get it. You don't have to be like, well, there's this thing called synchronicity. Are you familiar with that? Okay, we have feelings about that. Maybe you think it's mystic and weird, but it's actually scientific. Okay, it's based upon these principles. And here on the show, we do this, and then we ask a question. People are so confused. And then when they play it, it's easy. But I would say, honestly, to entrepreneurs, don't get caught up in the art of it. But I can't speak to entrepreneurs. I don't relate. I can speak to other artists, and I would say that if you do have an idea like that feels brilliant and like it comes from someplace deeper than yourself, from your ancestors, and it gives you a new idea, and it's going to be hard. And I don't know. I guess you can look at me and you say, if you look at what I'm doing, you say, well, that looks successful, then I would say you should follow that path. And I can tell you, when you get to the place where I am and what I'm doing that looks successful to you, you will find it's actually just a lot of work. The work never ends. But the lucky thing about living an inspired life is that you get to live an inspired life.
Absolutely.
And and then occasionally, if you live an inspired life, maybe you'll find someone who's as generous as my benefactor, and they will, what it takes to keep your business going will be such a small piece of what they already have, that you will be able to continue to do your art and be creative, regardless of whether or not it becomes successful.
Right.
And you get to then be appreciative of the connections you have, like we're having right here.
Right. Well, for people that don't...
But usually, I'll be honest, I try not to give advice. But since you asked, I will.
For the people that don't know, can you explain synchronicity?
Well, the definition sort of a standard definition that I work with is meaningful coincidence.
I like that.
So there are things that are coincidences. Everything's a coincidence, right? If I drop this, it's a coincidence how it lands. However, but if there's something meaningful to it, if at the very moment I drop this, there was a sound or an explosion or something near you, or a door slam near you at the very moment, we might be like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's kind of meaningful. That's connected. There's a synchronicity. Something, and and the thing about a synchronicity is it's very personal. That's sort of like the standard definition. For me, it's something that's very personal, like a dream. It's hard to explain to someone who wasn't there experiencing it with you, even though and no matter how much you try and explain how powerful it is to somebody else, it's never going to quite have that impact that it has for you. My dad, when he talked about dreams, he said that our dreams are like the dream poet. They speak to us in this poetry. And I feel like synchronicity does that too. When you have an experience of synchronicity, there's some meaning to that coincidence that nobody else could have made up or manufactured.
Yes,
something
absolutely.
really happened, and you can ignore it or you can experience it. And my experience is when you invite that, when you recognize it and are like, hey, synchronicity, cool, let's go with that, the universe gives you more.
Right.
That's really what I've come to believe, is like, I call it calisthenics for the part of our mind that recognizes synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get the same thing if you do a tarot, if you do a card reading every day. There's a
Right.
lot of ways to engage synchronicity or oracles. I like music, and I think music adds this whole other dimension to it,
Dimension. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
music is so powerfully magical, but also very mathematical and like a real thing. So yeah, so that's, I guess that's my definition of synchronicity and my, I don't know, strategy for cultivating it.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Now, you said that your father wrote books, and when I did my research, I found that you too are an author. Oh, is he going to show us the book, you guys?
Yes, I am. Book called Accidental Initiations in the Kabbalistic Tree of Olympia. And it's about, I don't know if you can see,
Oh yeah, we can see.
this is a Kabbalistic, can you see the Kabbalistic Tree of Life? That's an image of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life.
Oh, that's
Your
beautiful.
viewers and listeners may be aware of that image if they've studied Kabbalah or other sort of esoteric arts. And the book is about one of these, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, that's built into the city of Olympia.
Oh
Right
wow.
now, every night at 7 o'clock, this would see right here, that's the gazebo in our park. And that's where people are having protest rallies every day at 7 o'clock in Olympia, and have been for the last week or so. And so that's the center of our town. It's also the center of this Kabbalistic tree, which you can use as a walking meditation. And then this book is a guidebook to that, with stories from my life about how I've been accidentally initiated by living around this, and how we are all sort of accidentally initiated by the hidden sacred things in our lives.
Oh, that's
Yep.
amazing. That's amazing. You're like a triple threat. You know, how old were you when you got into acting?
Wow. I was very young. I was in high school. I think I acted in my first thing when I was in middle school, but I really got into it when I was in high school. And yeah, it's a joy when you can, it's great work when you can get it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to wrap up, but I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, where they can get in touch with you through Radio 8 Ball, and again about the app.
Okay. Well, let's see. You can find me at radio8ball.com. That's radio, the number 8ball.com. Radio 8 Ball, all one word. You can find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, looking for Radio 8 Ball. You can get the app at the iTunes App Store, Radio 8 Ball. And if you want to follow, actually, the app is the best way to experience my music, because I put a whole bunch of my songs in there.
I
But if you
love your
want to track
music, by
down
the
my
way.
stuff, you can find my record All You Get on Spotify,
I love that
and
vinyl.
also all over the internet. Yes.
I know.
I have to get you one. I'll have to get you. You
Yeah.
have a record player?
No, but
What?
I want one. I absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I'll get you one.
Yes, I want one. You have to sign it for me too. That'll be amazing.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
All
You got it.
right. Andras,
Yeah, so, and the main thing, I really encourage people, please check out Radio 8 Ball, and also just please, everyone, just be. We're in a great and crazy time, but be safe and take care of yourselves. And
Absolutely.
we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And thank you for inviting me. This quarantine has been so lonely. So just getting to hang out with a friendly face and a loving person is so great for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andras. I know, this quarantine, I've been inside. I really don't go anywhere. I really want to get out and protest. My sons have done it. My brother and his wife are out protesting. I want to get out there and show my solidarity. But right now, this is the only platform I have. So I agree with Andras. You guys, please be careful. Please be careful. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other, because we are in this together. Andras, thank you so much. And maybe you can come back on.
I'd love to. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I'll see you later. Thanks.
Bye.